Remember him! One-handed catch! Oh, he's got it!
Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, there's almost a little bit of a breath of fresh air that happens right now because the Jets are actually eliminated from playoff contention, and we can finally start moving on with talking about the offseason and everything. But we can commiserate right now on what went wrong this season, what happened to our team. Aside from Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, there's a lot of excuses being made. That's frustrating. Does someone need to pay with their job? I want to hear from you guys. We're going to go to the phone lines at 9:30. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock after 2 minutes.
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right. You get the chicken. You get ejected from the cockpit. So I'm looking forward to talking with you guys about this. Let's see. I've got... Now my mouse is stuck. Fiddling with things. And I can't move. That's what you get for screwing around, Ryan. All right. Let's see if I can just hop out of there. There we go. All right. See Dakota in the chat. Says, can't wait. Duncan says, 9 o'clock. Yeah, I probably should change the thumbnail. Didn't change the thumbnail to make it say 9 o'clock. It still said 8 o'clock because I was lazy and I forgot to do it. I do the AFC East roundtable over at 6 o'clock with those guys, and then 7:30. I do the 3 and Out. Episode 2 just dropped. Make sure to go check that out. Roundtable Sports. Yeah, that's where you can find it. Freedom Hauser says, A-Rod wants to play, which at first I thought was nuts, but on further examination, do it. No, I disagree. I don't want to see him. Like, I understand wanting to see some sort of competent offense, but how can you see what we saw on Sunday from the offensive line? Mekhi Becton getting turned like a turnstile, Billy Turnstile turning like a turnstile. Tippmann gave up a sack. Literally everyone across the board was booty cheeks. I feel like there's no way I put A-Rod back there. Not while that unit's performing that way. And Saleh definitely knows it as well. He dropped the bomb 8 times? I think that's what he said. I think he said it 8 times, alluding to the offensive line. It was bad. It was bad. It was not good. They didn't give us a shot. Running game couldn't get anything going. Quarterbacks were getting blasted. Zach Wilson out, knocked out of the game with a concussion. Why on earth would you want to see Aaron Rodgers behind this offensive line? I think you're nuts. You get an ejection just because I don't like your take. Sleep Joe says somebody should call or should get Sal to call in. Yeah, Sal, come on. Call in. Call-in number will be on the screen later on. T-Cart says, sup Jet Nation. So sad. I know. Connor says, love these call-in shows. Do these happen every Monday in the offseason? They do throughout the offseason, through the draft, and then usually May, after the schedule drops, usually May through July. I try to take a little bit more of a step back. So it's kind of like my mental reset, if you will, during that period of time. So I try to not do the call-in show for that period because there's not as much going on anyway. But we might still do the Talkin' Jets show. I'll talk with Green Bean and Matt and see if we're going to do that over on Tuesdays. But then I'll just be dropping videos that are, as topics kind of come up. I'm not going to make content just to make content. Not all the time, at least. Love you, Connor. Looking forward to your call-in. Who else we got in the chat? I see Blitz Crew in there. Nice to see you. Wild Wave says, what's up? All right. So let me do a little bit of a monologue. I'll talk to you guys about some of my thoughts about the game, how it started, how it ended, and everything in between. So we start off, Ryan's flying high, super confidence. We win the coin toss. We defer for the second half. Defense gets a stop after they get a holding penalty, wind up getting getting them to punt. We get the ball at like the 20-yard line, get a first down. And Zach drops back. He keeps dropping back because Tippmann let his guy through and Turner let his guy through and Becton needed 2 guys to block his dude and fucking Zach got annihilated. Just got annihilated. And it's brutal to see because he never stood a chance. I don't know how it wasn't called a penalty. He got cracked in the head, like teed up, cracked in the head. That was absolutely a launch. I would bet at some point, probably Wednesday, we'll see a fine come down for Bradley Chubb on that hit. But man, I understand why Zach could have been knocked out of this game for a concussion. Like, he went into the blue medical tent. And then he got hit multiple times after that. So even if he didn't get the concussion on the first initial hit, it's very likely he got the concussion on the ensuing hits after that. And I'll be honest, he looked dazed. He definitely looked dazed coming up after last hit. It was somewhere around like 8-9 minutes, I think, in the first half. And then Trevor wound up taking the field with about a minute left. So Zach Wilson, does he even start this week? Most people that go into the concussion protocol do not play the following game. So that means we're sitting here waiting for Trevor Siemian with probably Brett Rypien as the backup. I got to sit through that. I got to watch that. We just watched Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian. I don't want to watch. Every game that we win where Zach Wilson's not the quarterback, I feel like is a waste of a game. Like Trevor Siemian's not going to be here next year. Brett Rypien, not going to be here next year. Zach Wilson at least has a shot to be here. And if he doesn't, he's at least helping his trade value. Give me something entertaining to watch. Now we're just going to be hurting our draft stock if we wind up winning with Trevor Siemian or Rypien. That's not really how I want to win. And that's not necessarily me rooting for losses. It's more so like I want what benefits the Jets the most long term, and I don't think winning a game with someone who's not going to be here is the way to do it. So you guys can let me know your feelings on that sort of stuff. Connor says, love the graphics you put up. Thank you, Connor. Big Ticket, big problem. Yeah, Big Ticket had a big problem. If you guys didn't see my video, I did a film breakdown. I don't have the all 22 footage, so it's more of like the broadcast footage and different replays that they showed. But there was like 6 sacks, and Mekhi Becton was responsible for 2 of them, but he definitely could have had an additional sack. He definitely did not do well on some of the other plays that were sacks, even though his guy didn't wind up getting home. Big problem. Jets are going to be without a left tackle, without a right tackle, unless they value AVT as the right tackle. Like maybe that is the answer. Maybe he is our right tackle moving forward. If he's the right tackle, then you start feeling a little more confident because maybe you say, okay, we're going to bring McGovern back for another year. He was fine while healthy. Maybe you feel good about Wes, who's under contract for another season. You have Tomlinson, but I would love to upgrade from Tomlinson. You can cut him at any point. He has guaranteed money, but it's not until like there's no trigger date. You could cut him in training camp if you really wanted to, if someone shows out. So I think there's some manipulation you could kind of have with that part of the offensive line. But at least he's been healthy and like available. Maybe not having pieces swapped around as much. Maybe it's a little bit better, or maybe a better left tackle next to him will be better. I don't think Mekhi Becton's going to be here next year. I would be very surprised if Mekhi Becton wound up being a New York Jet, because I don't think we're going to offer him nearly what he's going to want. I don't think any other team's really going to offer what he wants. So unless he's willing to take a prove-it deal from the Jets, and the Jets are willing to roll the dice on like maybe some upside that he figures it out in a season with like Aaron Rodgers or something like that, but I don't know. It's not someone I want to bring back. You'd have to get him back for like $5 million. I think his over-the-cap valuation is valued at $4 million right now. And that's in a healthy season. I'm glad we got to see him healthy at least, because I didn't want to feel like, oh, he's this great player that's always injured. Like, he just kind of stinks. Yeah, it hasn't been good. Can't give up that many sacks. T-Card says, sup, Ryan? We always have next season. Of course. That's our mantra, right? Blitzkrieg says, if Aaron plays and gets hurt, Salah's fired after that game. Dude, I mean, yeah. I think there is a possibility things go like super awry. Like if we get like embarrassed these next 2 games or next 3 games coming out against the Commanders, the Browns, and then finally the final game of Bill Belichick as a Patriots coach. dude, I could see something happening. Woody might lose his shit at that point. I don't know. I think the right move is to at least run it back, but it would be a ballsy move. If they were like, hey, Rodgers, you're not retiring. We know you're going to be here. We're bringing in someone else. We're shit canning everyone. I don't want to see that. I really don't, because I like Robert Saleh. It's hard to lose as many games as you lost by as much as you've lost. We haven't even looked competitive. That's the biggest thing. I don't remember what Saleh's record is. It's like 15-32 or something along those lines, or 15-31 maybe. And what are they, 17 games, I think, or 14 games of losses by more than 14 or 15 points? Jesus, you can't do it. Any other coach, you would not stand that from. But he's got the bulletproofness of Aaron Rodgers being there. But then you look at all the other backup quarterbacks around the league doing stuff that's good. We were just talking about Browning from the Bengals. You're talking about like the 4 quarterbacks, including Joe Flacco, that have started for the Browns. The Steelers are still winning games. The Colts, Gardner Minshew winning games. Backups win games with competent coaching and competent play calling. It really sucks. We did not do anything worthy of being proud of yesterday, I don't think. Really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. J-Boy says the fake punt from JD was from JD to throw the game. Oh, that was a terrible call. I don't know why you run it up the gut on 4th and 4. Like, 4th and 1, I understand. I don't think you're getting very far on a run up the gut. You'd have to, like, throw it to the outside. Hugo Lake says, big ticket was a big, gaping b-hole. Enjoy free agency. Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be gone. He's definitely going to be gone. Someone will roll the dice on him. His rookie year, really good. Maybe a different offensive scheme is better for Becton. Maybe he just can't get down whatever Keith Carter's laying down, because this offensive line is more talented, or should be more talented, than what we're getting out of it right now. So maybe a fresh start is just what Becton needs. I would expect the Jets to go hard after offensive linemen. I think a lot of them will get re-signed. I think a lot of them will choose other places other than the Jets. But I think the Jets will wind up with like a David Bakhtiari and like a J.C. Latham next year at our tackles. That's my gut feeling. I don't love it because I really want Joe Alt or Fashanu or, Jonah Williams in free agency. I just have this gut feeling it's going to wind up being Bakhtiari and J.C. Latham. Like, we're going to win one of these next 2 games. We're going to be knocked out of the 2-tackle race in the top 5. That's what I see. Wild Wave comes in. Says Garrett needs to say that Sean Payton was right. Dude, Sean Payton was right. It sucks. Nathaniel Hackett. Oh, it's been brutal. At least with Mike LaFleur, you had guys getting schemed open. I felt confident in saying that. Like, every backup quarterback we had went for 300 yards. This does not feel like we're scheming guys open. Like, I credited one of those 5 sacks, or one of those 6 sacks that you saw, to Nathaniel Hackett because of the play call. Like, literally, receivers all running into a clump, like into one area. It's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Got to get the ball out fast with an offensive line that's not doing anything. I understand running, to the sticks because you got to get 8 yards on 3rd and 8. Dude, come on. Come on. Nathaniel Hackett, Sean Payton was right. I get it. Mike the Stat Guy says, we can win our next 29 games in a row and Douglas would still have a losing record. I stood fast by Joe Douglas for the longest time. I won't anymore. I can't. The proof is in the pudding. Dude, worst quarterback room in the NFL. Offensive line unit, absolutely terrible, whether it is his draft picks or his allowing of coach selection that did it. I don't know. Whatever it is. Joe Douglas has had 5 years. You know who has the most penalties and the most sacks given up this year? Penalties, Becton's not quite first. He's like 3rd, I think. But as far as sacks given up, Becton number 1. You know who number 2 is? A little draft pick called Andre Dillard. Tackle from the Eagles who Joe Douglas selected. Mother trucker. Dang it. Dude, literally the 2 guys that Douglas has taken high. Booty cheeks. Like, absolutely bad. I have a really hard time defending Douglas. And, like, I can make justifications at certain picks, and picks just didn't work out. And it's not for a lack of trying. I'll say that. But dude, not good. This is not okay. It has been brutal. Absolutely brutal. Nick says, tongue punch the like button. That's right, spike the like button. Hit it. Where's my button?
Hit it! Hit it!
Yeah. Hit the like button if you are enjoying what you're seeing here. Freedom House says, that's why you play A-Rod, so you see that Hackett, so we can see Hackett this year. I understand. I get that aspect of it, because maybe you attract more free agents here because it's like, okay, it's not really Hackett, it's Aaron Rodgers that's calling the plays, and now it doesn't really matter. But that offensive line is so bad, I think I'm willing to roll the dice on like hoping that it works out with Aaron Rodgers as opposed to seeing him on the field. It just, screw it. Whatever, right? Roll the dice. You only live once. Get him on the field. Let's see something exciting. Ace Tag says, honestly, starts with coaching. At this point, I'm tired of blaming the quarterback. The coaching needs to be held accountable, and this stuff just isn't doing it. I completely agree. Completely agree. That was a complete lack of effort yesterday. Boys and girls, we're going to go to the phone lines at 9:30. So we got 11 minutes. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. After 2 minutes, you're going to get ejected. I see a few guys hanging in there in the lobby waiting for the call in. You guys are more than welcome to do that. Just want to let you know we'll be there in like 10 minutes. Matt hops in and says, they won with Mike White. This is on Joe Douglas for not finding a quarterback who could get us 20 points a game. We never needed Rodgers. Dude, I think we needed Rodgers. Rodgers was a good move. It just sucks. It didn't work out right. I want a quarterback, says Hamskull. So you want to go quarterback in the draft? We can talk about draft too. I'm excited to talk about the draft. Andrew says, Becton is beyond bad. He doesn't even get his hands on people. He completely whiffs. Dude, he got juked by Bradley Chubb yesterday. Bad. Like, deked. Like, dude, not good. Not good. J-Boy says, being real, head coach won't go anywhere because of the D, and the D is why Rodgers came here. All we need to do is trade a pick swap. All we need to do is trade a pick swap, and Adams and a second, then take the best left tackle, then right tackle in the second, then bring in a right tackle. J-Boy, that's a lot of words that I'm not necessarily understanding. But I don't want to trade for Davante Adams. But if we had to trade for Davante Adams, the trade down that you're suggesting, where it's a trade down for the Raiders to come up, that is a little more easy to swallow, because I don't feel like you'd necessarily have to give up a pick. And it depends how far up the Raiders are coming. If it's only like a pick or two, you're going to have to give up like the 20-25 second or something along those lines. And I think Douglas would do that at that point. I don't love it. I would much prefer T. Higgins, 25 years old, young, 6'5", red zone target. I feel like provides a different style of play compared to Garrett Wilson that I think Davante Adams might kind of mimic. Not that it's a bad thing. If you get two guys that can get open consistently, and Davante Adams is your 1B or Garrett Wilson is your 1B, however you want to categorize it, I'm not going to complain either way. I'm just saying from an asset allocation standpoint, I would prefer a free agent wide receiver to trading for T. Higgins. Or not trading for trading for Davante Adams. Bino says, I'm done with JD and Salah. Move on from both Garrett Wilson, Breece, and company. Deserves so much better than this. The fans and the offensive players and everyone deserves much better than what we're seeing right now. This is terrible. I feel bad for anyone that's paying money to go to these games. And like, you know what? I want you to have fun when you go to the games, and that's not fun. You want to be entertained. The Jets are not entertaining. It's just a really boring team to watch right now. Hamzul says there are far too many potential stud quarterbacks in this class. We need to draft a quarterback. I like quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. I don't want one in the 1st, I'll be honest. If we were to take one, Jaden Daniels would be my preferred route. I heard a rumor that Caleb Williams may not even be coming out this year. Did you guys hear that? He's got some offer for like a massive NIL deal. I heard the rumor about that with Marvin Harrison Jr., but I heard that one was not true. I have not heard one way or the other. This was something Dan Mitchell brought up to me. Caleb Williams potentially not coming out of college because of a massive NIL deal on the table, I think with Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken. It was like a monster deal. Ace to Egg says, the fact people think we are a quarterback away, but honestly, this team offensively is trash. These players are just not that good. Sure, we have Garrett Wilson and Hall, but they can't carry this team. I think it starts up front, first and foremost. I think the offensive line is clearly a problem. And I would say that if you are the New York Jets, you're going to spend your free agent allocation on offensive line, wide receiver. Build it up. I like Gibson. I like what he could be. I don't think he's necessarily a surefire number 3 right now. But if you could go out and you can get an expensive option in free agency, like a T. Higgins, a Mike Evans, a Keenan Allen, if he winds up getting released because of cap purposes, one of those types of receivers, Darnell Mooney might be available. Hollywood Brown might be available. There's going to be a few guys that hit the market. I would like to see the Jets go that route. And then maybe in the 3rd or 4th round, add another wide receiver. I do think the Jets are going to get something for Zach Wilson if they do decide to end up trading him. I find it hard to believe he's going to be back as quarterback 2 next year. It just seems like that has kind of gone past at this point. Boys and girls, we're going to go to the phone lines in just 6 minutes. You guys can hang tight in the lobby over there, and I'll get to you guys momentarily. Blitzkrieg, thank you so much for the super chat. Comes in, says right tackle, left tackle, speed rushers will be shifted to his side. Try Becton at guard. Left tackle play won't be worse at this point. Throw anything against the wall, see what sticks. Bench Whitehead. Try Bernard Converse and Davis or Davis. I would like to see. I think Becton's enormous. I don't know if he can move. Can he move as a guard? I haven't seen. I've heard people speculate that, right? Like they talked about Evan Neal from the Giants, who is a little bit slower and cumbersome. Maybe him kicking inside to guard. I wouldn't mind trying Becton inside, but who are you going to move? Like, are you going to move him to like right guard? It's just sort of a very weird circumstance, and I think the Jets are probably done with him at this point. I would bet they're just going to keep him at left tackle and allow him to leave in free agency. That's my gut feeling. But I do want to see, I don't know what's been up with Bernard Converse right now. He started the year on IR, I think. I'm assuming he's just been inactive this entire time. And I'm assuming you're talking about Ashton Davis. I want Ashton Davis back next year. I'm a big Ashton Davis fan. Big Ashton Davis fan. Thank you so much for the super chat. Blitzkrieg. What else can we talk about? Trying to think what other storylines there were. Do I think anyone should get fired? I think someone deserves to get fired. I don't think anyone will get fired. I think Saleh and Douglas, all the big fish are back. Hackett. I think they'll definitely make Keith Carter fall on the sword. Offensive line has been awful. Like, objectively terrible. You can't have this consistently. So I think he's gone. I think Zach might be gone. And that'll be the blood sacrifice to the fans that everyone was looking for. Even though some fans don't want to get rid of Zach. As far as Tankathon, what do I want at the top of the draft? What are we sitting at? 5, 6 right now? We got to leapfrog the Bears. The Bears got a big game this week. Is it this week or is it next week? Against the Cardinals. That's a big one. You want to have the Bears win this game. And then you want to have the Patriots win. Because then the Cardinals leapfrog the Patriots, I believe. I'd have to look at the strength of schedule again. Got some options then. Got some options. Duncan says they increase ticket prices next year. We get one less regular season game. And they made us pay in November of this year. Yeah, normally they make fans pay in February. And this year we had one extra home game during the regular season. We had 9 home games during the regular season, plus we had the Giant game. That was like kind of a number 10, but season ticket holders don't have that. Next year, the Jets will have 2 preseason home games and 8 regular season games. So you still get 10 games, but it's annoying because you get 2 preseason instead of the 1 preseason this year. They're always going to get you. I remember when they started making people pay for the preseason. It's like, hey, you have to pay for this now, even if you don't want to go. It used to be optional. It's changed a lot. It's changed a whole lot. Ace Tag says, if we get a quarterback, then sit him the first year, tired of throwing these rookies in the Wolves' den early. Last quarterback we sat was Chad, and he was decent. Look, I think there's something to it, especially in the New York media. And I don't know if it's necessarily sitting or drafting a high quarterback. I think there's something that comes with expectations in a massive city, and certain guys just can handle it better. I felt like Darnold handled the pressure a lot better. He just wasn't that good, and we didn't have like anything around him. Zach, just not very good. Eli knew like not to give the media any kind of sound bites. He was very like polished in that sort of perspective, but he was also kind of boring. Like not super interesting. Chad, I feel like sort of falls in like a similar category to that, where he's not sexy, right? Like he doesn't have the big strong arm. He doesn't have the fast, not a fast guy, but he sat and he was cerebral. He sat and learned for those however long it was. I don't even remember. But then you get that little bit of, okay, let me get a feeling for the city. Let me build up that rapport with the players on this team. I feel like when you sit for a little bit, so roster turnover year to year is 30%. So if you think a rookie quarterback drafted in the first round sits 3 years, by the time he starts in his 4th year, the entire roster will have known that team with him as the quarterback, or at least as the backup. So he's got a rapport with all the guys. So there is something to that, even if it's not, you don't have to sit, obviously. You have guys like Joe Burrow coming out and, RG3 for his first year. Like, guys will perform in year 1. Usually you see more than that. It's an interesting conversation, the whole sit 'em or start 'em debate. All right, we got a few guys on the line. Let me start bringing you into the lobby. We are at 9:30. So let's see. I got to... Where is the QR code? All right, QR code's on the screen. You can scan the QR code, or you can click on the pinned comment. Nope, not pinned comment. Sorry, I didn't do that. There is a link being dropped by Nightbot in the chat. Call-in show link, so you can click on that if you'd like to. And don't forget to support the sponsors of the show, Underdog Fantasy. If you sign up using my code JETS247, you wind up getting a $100 match on your first time deposit. Head over there, support the channel. It's been a lot of fun. I've been picking in a season that's lost, when you can actually win a little bit of money. You can do like pick'ems that are $20 entries. You win like $400. That's my kind of deal. I'm not in it to like throw a ton of money. You could do $3. You could do $5. You could literally do any increment you want. You don't have to do 20. I just picked 20 because it's a nice round number. All right. Let's get over to the phone lines. We have... First caller is going to be Arthur. Arthur, how you doing today, dude?
Hey, Ryan, how are you, buddy?
Give me 1 second. For some reason, that did not pull up. Oh, I figured it out. I got it. Boom, there you are, Charles. How you doing?
Good, man. I just wanted to mess with you a little bit with the names and everything.
How you doing, Ryan? It's Arthur Curry Oren, a.k.a., and actually I can't read the rest of it, so you can tell anyone what it is.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, how you doing, Ryan? How's the family?
I'm hanging in there. Family's good. Definitely 2 little kids is rough, but you know what? At least when I get to watch such terrible football, it makes me like really enjoy the family time that much more than I already did.
Well, I didn't watch all that much football yesterday. I was busy. It's funny because I almost forgot the Jets were playing on Sunday. And when I turned on the game, I'm like, oh, my God, it's so bad. It's so bad. So let me watch the Giant game. Oh, my God, it's not that much better. And then I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to my stairs, playing one of my video games, and I'm just like, fuck it.
I'm just done. Dude, 30-0. It's like the team didn't even show up.
Tell me about it, bub. I mean, it's so... I mean, that's freaking coaching. I mean, look, I understand Becton hasn't been very good this year, but the offensive line in general has been shit this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only offensive line that I think has really stood out this year has been Joe Tippmann, who I thought has played very well at center this year. Laken Tomlinson has been okay. AVT was great when he was healthy.
Mhm.
And, it is what it is, man. Um,
Do you think what do
and
you
I
think
was
the best
talking
route
to
for the
one
Jets
of
is to like get a better offensive line presence?
we need a different. Not only do we need a different offensive line coach, we need better offensive linemen. We need. I don't mind drafting a quarterback in the draft, but draft them in the later rounds like we did with Chad Pennington in 2000. And I was talking with one of the guys, Benalter.
Wasn't Chad a first round pick? Boom, Charles.
You're out of here!
I'm pretty sure. Am I losing my mind? Chad was definitely a first round pick. Wasn't he one of like the 4 first round picks we had that year? And maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Carson, talk to me. Am I wrong? What pick was Chad Pennington?
I believe he was first round 10th overall, if I'm not mistaken. He was in the top 10, I think.
All right,
I could be
was
wrong,
like,
but
he
it's
was
so
definitely
long
a
ago.
top 10. Like he was definitely a first round pick.
I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was round 1, pick 10. I could be wrong on that, but I know it's close. Listen. I'm tired of being lied to. Like every single week, we get Robert Saleh on the press conference saying that we're getting better and we have to get better. Don't fucking lie to me and just tell me straight up that you guys are shit. Like, just be honest. Like, call out your fucking team. Have some fucking heart. I mean, shit. Like, we're in an NFL. We're in an offensive league. Okay, and to put up 0 is a utter fucking disgrace.
Mhm.
That is a joke. I was telling this to my buddy the other day. We are the Iowa of professional football. We have a great defense. We can't score. Like, we are literally the professional Iowa. But listen, I don't know what to say. Like I put my hard time into this team. I evaluate this team on what their needs are. I evaluate certain things, and then I see on Sunday they go into Sunday into Miami, and they're fucking horrific. And this is even going back to the Atlanta game. Like even the Charger game. I mean, they have been fucking putrid the last 5-6 weeks. But listen, I like your evaluation of needing a wide receiver. I was reading earlier today, and you were right about Caleb Williams. OSU was the team that I think the NILD was off to. Don't be surprised. We talked about it a little while ago. Jaden Daniels could go top 4 if Caleb decides to stay, which is kind of crazy, but it's true.
Dude, I really think there's a good shot that he's going to be going like number 1 overall. I think there's a legitimate shot.
Drake May, really? Over Drake May?
I think there's going to be so much hype around him with the Heisman Trophy, and people are going to see him at the combine. They're going to be like, "Wow, this kid is tall. He's going to be fast." That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a little bit of a metrics game, but I could see him going higher than people think.
Just lose out. Let's lose out.
I agree, dude. Carson, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's head over to Connor. Connor, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Oh my god. Like I said yesterday, that was one of the worst Jet games like I've seen in so long.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's the type of games like I think 2019 or 2020 game where we were playing the Raiders and they won on a Hail Mary when Greg Williams called a blitz. Like
the 0 blitz and everyone was up at the line of scrimmage and Ruggs is just screaming down the sideline. Yep, I remember it.
And then there's the games like yesterday where we literally don't score a point. Like Salas, they put like a counter on. Salas said like about 50 times in the press conference after the game. And, like, they put a graphic up at halftime. We had 3 yards of offense. The Dolphins had 3 touchdowns and 5 sacks. So they had more sacks than we did yards of offense and the same amount of touchdowns than we did yards of offense. Like, it's all coaching, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. I think coaching has got to come into play here. You cannot roll over this easily, like, year over year. This is 3 years in a row this is going on. Like, when you look at other teams, they have backup quarterbacks. What are the excuses for the Browns? What are the excuses for like the offensive line issues across the league? Like for whatever reason, Joe Douglas either didn't stock the cupboard or Keith Carter or the coaching staff, whatever it is, isn't coaching the talent and putting them in a position to win. Because there's too much talent on this team to look this way.
I agree. Like Salah, I've said all along I want to keep him. Like I don't. It doesn't matter at this point if we keep him. Like some guys I want to keep in mind though are Frank Smith, the Dolphins OC, Brian
Mhm.
Johnson, Eagles OC, and Kellen Moore, Chargers OC. If we were to fire Salah, I'd want to
Mhm.
bring in one of them. But like, oh God, and the press conference today too, he's trying to dodge all the questions about job security. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for the Commanders, blah blah blah, this and that. He said he said something else. He said, oh yes, There's coaches that have been fired, and there's
Mhm.
coaches that deserve to be fired. I'm like, not our coach, not our coach.
Connor with the great insight. Thank you so much for the call, brother. Always appreciated, Connor. All right, let's head over to Lima Bean. Lima Bean, how you doing, dude?
Well, sucks to be a Jets fan as usual sometimes, it's one of those things. I just looking around the league and all that stuff, you know, it's a coaching issue, but if you look at it, it's coaching issue on a specific side of the ball. Like we don't complain that much about our defense or special teams. They have hiccups, of course. But it's our O line, it's our play calling, it's literally just the offense. It's one side. So that coaching staff in particular, like the coordinators and like all the stuff beneath them, they need to get like the bulk of the blame. And obviously, it's going to go to Salah because he's the head coach. But like, it's like, hey man, like I'm the head chef, but you gave me crap cooks in the kitchen
Mhm.
here, so I don't know what to do. I just we got to replace at least three of our offensive linemen. I don't know how we're going to do that because I'm scared of drafting an O line as much as I want one because Ike Kwanu sucks and the other guy for the Giants, he's like dog shit. So like it's really hard to develop those guys.
Mhm.
Um, we might have to go through free agency and then also put in a pipeline, which because
Mhm.
Carton Warren doesn't look that hot, Max Mitchell's not looking so great. Like it's I don't know what's going on. That's our biggest issue. Like
Mhm.
there's always going to be pressure, and obviously Zach hasn't always dealt with that the best way. And this is not like a referendum on Zach one way or the other, but we can't have, no matter who our quarterback is, we can't have free rushers like as soon as the ball is snapped. Like you're not going to have
Mhm.
success no matter who you are. Like you can't even just chuck it up in the air. Like you just can't. So I just don't know what to do. But I think it's been a combination. Like Todd Downing needs to get a lot more blame because from what I've been seeing from the Tennessee people,
Mhm.
they did not like him. He had like Derrick Henry, and like they were like, yo, he's still stifling our offensive. Like they had a good offensive line and like a great running back, and he was a
Mhm.
problem for them. Like it's just things like that you hear and you read, and then there's Hackett, of course, and just I don't know. Like I don't know what's going on. I mean, as for people saying tanking, obviously I don't. I'm just kind of done with the tanking thing because it just doesn't work unless we had
Mhm.
one chance to tank. And I was all like, Connor mentioned like the Henry Ruggs thing. I was like, I was screaming. I was like, yeah, I was happy for that. I was like, we lost. Like, yeah, we suck. Like, it's great. But like, I don't want to lose Garrett and Sauce and those guys' mindsets and then demanding trades.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want them to go full Jamal Adams here. So we gotta. I mean, first of all, I think we're going to win one or two games at some point. Like,
Mhm.
whether it be the Pats game, which might end up biting us in another way, or the
Yep.
Commanders game. Like, it's just, yeah, we just got to keep. I have no idea, man. It's next year's very like this was like a dry.
Boom! Take it way too long.
You're out
Lima
of
Bean,
here!
thank you so much for the call. Got people on the horn. Got to talk to. 2 minutes. Get ejected. I'm going to be a little more strict with it. I'll have fun when we get to eject people without them really like knowing. It's fun. You guys know him. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's time for me to just be depressed. I actually cut my hair because I told myself I went to the Houston game and I was so excited. I'm like, I'm not cutting my hair until after we lose. And next week we get blown out, didn't show up. A couple of things I want to talk about because I'm done with Joe Douglas, like talking about firing him. You already know my stance on this.
Sure,
So we
yeah.
got 6 offensive linemen, four pass rushers, and 3 of them get through. Someone did I not graduate high school? Did I explain that logic to me? 6 offensive linemen, and Zach Wilson is dead on the ground, and that's like the first, and he never recovered. He was out of it from that play. He was disoriented. He was discombobulated. Probably should have never came back in, but that's besides the point. On top of that, though, the defensive coordinator deserves some blame because Tyreek Hill was out, and we put DJ Reed on Jalen Waddle, and we said, go have fun and get absolutely cooked the whole game, and we're not going to roll over safety. We're not going to change the game plan. We're scared of adjustments. So that's just terrible. That's where Salah needs to step in and actually say, we need to do something. Being scared of adjustments is on coaching.
I want to see
Mekhi
them.
Becton,
Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry.
sorry, but Mekhi Becton. You want to tackle the Jets quarterback? Put
Mhm.
anyone with a swim move and who can take 2 steps on Mekhi Becton. You're blowing right past that fat, lazy. I have no
Dude.
words to say are nice. You can't put him at guard because he's gonna cry about it, and he is
Mhm.
also too fat to play guard. So he's gone. So we need 3 offensive linemen in a draft that was loaded with receivers, which we need, and a draft that is loaded with talent that we need. I wanted Brock Bowers, can't justify it. I wanted
Mhm.
Coleman. You can't justify with no offensive line. Like, look at
Mhm.
Breece Hall. What's he's
Mhm.
done since the Denver game? Absolutely nothing because we don't have an offensive line. It's
Mhm.
just it's incompetence across the board. The record says what we are. We suck. You can't put Rodgers in because you'll die. That's all.
I completely agree, Mike.
You're out of here.
I completely agree. So he said some things there. So I actually saw a stat posted by Samini, actually, talking about how the Jets had DJ Reed on Waddle for 10 snaps or 9 snaps maybe, and then Sauce was on for 10 or 9. It was like there was like 20 snaps or something along those lines where those two split Jalen Waddle. And every time Sauce was on Waddle, he didn't get the ball. So they must have identified that DJ Reed was the better matchup for Waddle and allowed him to just roast him on that part of the game, which is bonkers to me. Because, like, this defense pisses me off. Like, I want the old Revis defense where you have your best player line up against their best player and you just say, go ball all game long. Like, you guys are going to jaw and you guys are going to fight and you're going to, like, hand check the entire game. And it's going to be fun to watch. I hate watching, like, oh, our best corner. Not that this isn't a knock at DJ Reed, but there's certain matchups that Sauce is just better aligned for. There's certain matchups that I think DJ Reed is better aligned for than Sauce. And when I see them play, one side of the field and the offense is like, well, we just want let's get Waddle on Reed. Okay, let's just put him in motion to that side. Boom, easy. We get exactly what we want. It's incredibly frustrating to watch, and I don't know why we haven't tried any sort of fixing of that. Fabian coming in. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing? I'm drinking my Jets therapy here.
There
It's
you
always
go.
good. What's up, my man? How's it going, bro?
I'm hanging in there, dude. It's just, I guess it's nice at this point where I don't have to be delusional about maybe making the playoffs. It can just be like, okay, finally we're looking at the draft now.
Yeah, it's not in our cards to be in a playoff hunt after Christmas, man. We got to be talking about drafts and off season before Christmas, or we wouldn't be Jets fans. And that kid Connor, let me tell you something. He seems to know a lot about football, other than the fact that he became a Jets fan. What is wrong with that kid? Out of all the fucking teams he could pick, he picked the Jets. Run, Connor. Get out. It's like the movie Get Out. Get out.
Oh, you got to get out while you can, Connor. No, he's sucked in. I can tell. He's dialed in.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah, it just sucks. Bro, I'm numb. I've been a Jets fan for about 35 years. This one was numbing. I'm just watching the games like whatever. The coaching's got to go. And that's not to say Joe Douglas shouldn't have gotten a backup or proper, but listen, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett wouldn't have moved the needle much. This is a coaching issue. Their lack of talent. When Becton gets beat 1-on-1, that's a lack of talent, whatever. But when you got miscommunications across the line, they're not coached up, man. I've never seen anything like this. And now it's kind of spilling over to the defense where the defense just gave up. And it's got to start off new, and whatever happens with Rodgers happens. But I don't think we could afford to bring these guys back.
Yeah, dude, I can understand that. I mean, it looks like a complete and utter failure from the coaching staff again. Like, this is year in and year out where you have guys just giving up and the team just rolls over. Like, there is no fight. You don't lose 30-0 to the Dolphins B team if you are a serious football team.
No, absolutely not. So that's it, man. Now you give me the chicken. I just said it was my little thank you, Doctor. Wait, if I say Doctor, thank you, Dr. Melfi. Do you get the reference? Because you're a little younger.
Nope, don't understand.
Sopranos.
No,
The Sopranos.
I need to watch The Sopranos. I was like 10 when it came out, and I'm not Italian, so it wasn't like a big thing for me.
Yeah, no, I'm Spanish, but it was the shit, man. You got to when you get a chance, binge watch it, man.
I definitely will. Fabian, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to Jet Nation. Jet Nation, how you doing tonight, dude?
I'm enjoying this therapy session too, man. It was a great year, but what I'm happy about our fan base is that we never give up on our team. We don't flip flop or anything. We have hopes for the next season. And I think we need to, either go for I forgot the dude's name, so hard to pronounce, or Joe. Oh, one of them two right there. I think we
The
need to go for
offensive
one.
tackle, Olu Fashanu or Joe
Yeah,
Alt.
Olufashano, him. Yeah, him.
Mm.
I was watching his highlights. He's a beast, man. I think we need to
Mhm.
go for one of them in the draft. And I don't know about. I thought about Keon Coleman. He gave
Mhm.
me some Debo Samuel vibes, where he's able to catch the ball and get some yards after the catch and break
Mhm.
a couple of tackles. But I think he's a first rounder. He might be, of course, he is. But
Oh yeah, 100%. He's when I started doing like more and more research on him, I'm like, dude, this guy's definitely he might go top 10. Like he's really good. I
yeah,
would say
he's really
top
good.
20
Yeah.
for sure, but I think he could sneak into the top 10 depending on like the team that wants, a receiver.
Yeah, but the defense yesterday, oh man, it was ridiculous. Like, cause I realized like every game I watch, once the offense is like making like a run or like moving the chains, the defense is like getting hyped. Okay, let's get this stop, so we can get them back on the field or so. So now at
Mhm.
this point, I don't, and like you said, the coaching issue is definitely we got to put Joe Douglas to the fire pit, man. We have
You-
to like I'm tired of this. Like I wish we had a thing to where like we like us as fans could go into the draft room with them so we can tell them as fans who we prefer to come to our team because
mhm.
it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous, and we got next season, but Jet Station forever, man. That's
Dude,
all.
Jet Nation, thank you so much for the call.
That's it.
You've been
You're
ejected
out of here.
from the cockpit. I'm going to get to your calls in just a second. We got Connor back in the line, and we got Mutt Viles calling in, so you guys will be our next ones up. But I want to pull over real quick. Let's go over to Blitzcrew. Blitzcrew drops in a super chat. He says, at most, can only field one rookie on the offensive line. If planning on playing meaningful games, our run defense is horrible. Need a run-stuffing defensive tackle. Need a wide receiver. Safety, and young quarterback. So many needs. I agree. So many needs. We do need a young quarterback, and I think you can take one in the middle rounds of this draft. I think round 4 or so. Heck, whatever pick you get for Zach. Because I think you're going to get a mid-round pick. I think someone's going to gamble on the fact that the Jets just are completely incompetent, and someone's going to give us a halfway decent pick. Let's call it a 4th-round pick. That's what Trey Lance went for. I think it's possible. Let's say you draft a quarterback there. You still have your 1st-round pick, you still have your 3rd-round pick, and you still have your other 4th-round pick. Or do we have 2 4th-round picks? We might have 2 4th-round picks already. I got to look at it again. We don't have a 5th-round pick, and I think we have 2 6ths and maybe a 7th. Don't quote me on that. I got to look. But lots of things to go. As far as rookies on the offensive line, I mean, I think ideally you have Tippmann, AVT, and Tomlinson shows you enough, or you're encouraged enough that getting rid of Tippmann and adding like a Bakhtiari or adding a Joe Alt or adding an Olu Fashanu or adding a Jonah Williams will make him play better or make the rest of the offensive line play better. Or you're feeling like you're good with AVT out at right tackle, and then you want to kick, a guard in the mid rounds in rounds 3 or 4 in the draft where there's a little bit more value. Maybe you decide to go that route, because if you're going to give AVT the 5th-year option, his 5th-year option is going to be the same price as an offensive tackle anyway. The offensive line tag or the offensive line 5th-year option is the same as the franchise tag. The franchise tag is the best 5 paid offensive linemen regardless of position. So you don't want a franchise tag, or not franchise tag, but you don't want a 5th-year option a center or a guard, because the value just isn't there the way it is with a tackle. So financially, it makes more sense to move AVT out to tackle. So then maybe you're looking for a guard in one tackle. If you're going that route, then maybe you're okay with West, maybe you're okay with McGovern coming back. There's a few things that you could look at. And as far as run stuffing defensive tackle, I'm hoping we bring back Jefferson. I would imagine Woods probably retires at this point. Wide receiver, I want to go wide receiver in free agency for our big guy, and then draft one probably in like the 3rd round. Forever Run says, what's the scouting report on Zach's brother? I can't imagine it's very good. I'm done with that family. I don't think it would be a wise move to look that route. Sometimes you can't go back to the same tree. All right, let's go back over to Connor. Connor, how you doing again, brother?
I'm doing well. I just had a few more things to touch on the management. I was like, Keith Carter's gone. I know that. I want Todd Downing gone, like you were saying with the Titans and stuff. I like the idea of bringing Josh McCown back, like on our staff, but like just Douglas. I mean, he's had one good draft class with the Garrett Wilson class, and then he made a good Jamal Adams trade. But other than that, he really hasn't done like anything like much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think about Douglas. Like, it's tough. It's hard to defend him at this point because he has been that bad. There's enough proof at this point where the offensive line should have been fixed by now. Quarterback, you've had kind of two cracks at it coming in with Darnold and then also, rolling the dice on Zach here. It's been frustrating.
Yeah, I think like Hackett's like our biggest problem, but I know he's not going to get fixed because Rodgers is with us. But like when it comes to like salary cap and stuff, we're paying Lincoln Tomlinson $14 million a year. Like, and he's old. That's not okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a problem. we're going to need offensive linemen in the worst way, and I think there's a good shot that I think Lakin's back. I think because of his contract and his age and his health alone, I think it's going to be tough for the Jets to attract offensive linemen. I think as much as we're going to have money, and we say like, hey, go sign the best one's also got to pick us.
Yeah, I don't think any free agents really want to come to the Jets. I have the Jets going like Altz, Zinter in the third, because I think he might go in the third, and then Travis in the fourth, and I don't know what we're going to do with the rest of our picks. That's really it.
It's tough to know where we're going to go at this point in time. I think there's a lot of excitement for wide receiver. I think there's a lot of excitement for offensive line. It's just a matter of can you actually get the right players in here, do what you got to do. Connor, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, let's go over to Mutt Viles. Mutt Viles, how you doing, dude?
What's going on, man?
Hanging in there. What'd you think of yesterday's game?
Thank God I did not watch half of that game at least. I was actually revving, I was revving flag football games where I see more offensive talent than from the Jets offense the entire season. It's insane. I understand, though, what Connor was saying before, though, with Lincoln Tomlinson, that he needs to be cut. But if you look at the O-line, though, just for projection of what's there contract-wise, it's going to be then Connor Warner, whoever we have in the left guard, Tittman, AVT, and Becton, right? Who are you going to put in the guard spot? We don't have really like a good backup guard, so keeping Lincoln Tomlinson to the last year of his contract is fine. That's just my opinion with that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Lakin is at least his money's not guaranteed. So if you did find someone you liked throughout training camp and you wanted to save that money for an in-season move because maybe you think you can make a trade in season, I'm okay with that type of move, but I don't think you get rid of him before you know what you have in free agency and what you have in the draft. And that might screw Lakin Tomlinson over a little bit, but he's got his money, and based on the way he's played, I don't know if he's earned the money that we gave him at this particular point in time. Do you think you're going to go like all in offensive line? Do you think it's free agency? Do you think it's a draft? Like what's the move?
I can see us going after like Jonah Williams, maybe. There's a young tackle, though. I can definitely see us going after someone like that. But definitely, though, in the draft, though, is going to be the move. It's going to be what's his name from Notre Dame, who freaking just declared. The only way we don't get a tackle if it's Marvin Harrison at wide receiver. That's the only way we're not getting one.
If we wind up getting him, we'd have to probably be top 3. I hear people talking about him to the Bears because they're going to roll with Justin Fields.
The way I look at it, though, whatever happens, though, there. Because how you know if they don't fire Eberflus and they bring in a new head coach doesn't even want Justin Fields. That's the way I look at that. If the head coach is there, then they might do that. Or they can go get a haul again.
Do you think Salah's here next year? Do you think he's safe?
It's really going to depend how he plays against Washington, and especially against New England. Because I feel like if he at least beats New England in Week 18 for a meaningless game, it's going to give him a little bit of a boost because we haven't beaten New England since Fitzmagic. So, if he can break that streak like he broke the Eagles streak, then I can definitely see him staying. Plus, our defense is still top 10, though. We just need better interior D tackles besides Quentin Williams, who can actually stop the run. We have a bunch of edge rushers. We have no runs.
I agree.
That's just me.
Mutt Viles. Ever since we lost Al Woods, it sucked. Mutt Viles has been ejected from the cockpit. We're going to go over to more calls. I see Ryan and Mike on the line. Seobert. Blah, blah. Thank you for the super chat. It says Salah ought to get fired solely based on the trite content of his Fox motivational speeches. He just repeats what he hears during PBS telethons. He's got a lot of catchphrases. And I was really hoping one of these catchphrases would at least like mean they're going in the right direction. All gas, no break. Certainly not how you play offense. Not usually. I would say the back end of the Houston game and the Chiefs game would be all gas, no break. Other than that, looks like all break, no gas. Horrible, horrible stuff. All right, let's go over to Ryan. Ryan, how you doing tonight, dude?
Suck my dick, Robert Saleh.
All right, good to have you on here. All right, let's go to Mike. Mike, how you doing, dude?
I'm back again.
That's all right.
I'm just so frustrated. There's so much to talk about. What I think the Jets do is I think they trade back in the draft, and what they're gonna have to do is you have to mortgage 2 years and 3 years now of picks to move back into the draft if you do take a high pick. I think this is where if they're gonna keep Douglas and Salah, you're gonna see them get really desperate and do some things that are gonna hurt us long term.
Dude,
With
I'm
Rodgers
afraid of
being
that.
gone.
I was
not
talking
looking.
to Matt
They're not
Green
looking
about that.
for.
I was like, you
I need to get
cannot
this
give
to
up.
everyone. They're not looking for a future quarterback. That ship has sailed. They clearly can't develop one. They're not going to waste the time. They don't have the time for that. They worry about their jobs. So what they're going to do is they're either going to take like a Joe Alt, depending where they pick. If they pick early, I see them moving back because someone might fall in love with whoever that guy from LSU is. They might fall in love with him, trade back, and then go back into the first using next year's second, next year's third. Maybe because you can't get Devontae Adams and all the other guys. You don't have the draft capital. I don't know who everyone's like Devontae Adams. We only have a first and a third and 15 needs. You have no leverage for Devontae Adams. So
dude, I
you
don't
have
want
to trade
Devontae
back.
Adams. I like the trade back option.
But I think you have to trade back or take a pick and come in, like leverage the future. But that's where we're at right now. That's the bet we made. So that's what people have to realize. It's not like this isn't a 3-year program anymore. This is we need to fix this now, and we don't have a lot to fix it. So they're going to do some really risky things that they probably won't pay off because we're Jet fans. And if they bring in Bakhtiari, just know we're getting probably 10 games, probably less because we're the Jets. Blow his leg out. But that's what we're going to get stuck with.
Dude, I'm so nervous that that's going to be the way that it ends up shaking out for the Jets.
That's what they're going to do. And same with AVT. I love the idea of putting him at tackle and going for guard because it saves you the need. But can he be healthy? Because if you don't think he can be healthy, why are we even risking this again? Because he only played half a year each year, then we're right back in the same boat. They need actual fixes, not patchworks. So we'll see what they do, but we'll see at the end of it all. But I see them trading back, coming in, mortgaging the future, and they're not taking a quarterback. They've already proven they can't do it. They're going to go with Rodgers and then a bunch of shit.
I completely agree, Mike. Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, call-in number is on the screen. If you'd like to call in, you just scan the little QR code right down here. Doodly-doo. Right down there. Or you can click the pinned comment that Nightbot is dropping in the chat consistently. Feel free to call in if you'd like. I'll probably go, let's do this for like another half hour or so. I think. I'm getting tired, and I'm on the edge. I've been streaming a long time. Had a lot of content that came out today. Definitely feeling it. Oh man, crying myself to sleep too in the middle of the night, watching this damn team. Sucks. Just sucks. We deserve so much better than what we get out of this team. Let's see. Mr. J says, y'all would push your mothers down a flight of subway stairs if Tua, if no one was looking and you know it. Honestly, if Tua could stay healthy, I think Tua's a good quarterback. I got no issues with Tua. He's not even like a dick. It's not even like I dislike Tua. I mean, I think I think his weak arm is overblown. The throw to Waddle was a dime. He's efficient. He gets the ball out fast. Yeah, damn right I wish I had Tua. Look what our alternative is. NYY says, some people are weird and can't help it. Yeah, everyone's weird. It's all right. I don't judge you. WM says, Pat's going to get Caleb or Drake too. That shit is scary for that division. So there's going to be a lot of discussion as to week 18. Do the Jets lose and help our own draft pick and hurt hurt the Patriots draft pick by them winning? Or do we try to break the streak before Belichick is gone and we get that good old moral victory, but we miss out on the top 2 tackles of the draft? I know which way it's going to go. At least I feel like I know which way it's going to go. And I know which way I would prefer it to go, if I'm being honest. Mike the Stack Guy says, Ryan, I tagged you in another tweet. I've really enjoyed a lot of your stuff that you've come up with, Mike. Some stuff I don't always agree with, but the stats are very, very interesting. So if you guys want a good follow, Mike the Stat Guy, I'll have to look at it. I'm not going to pull it up right now. I started putzing around with my setup and everything, and I actually don't have my big monitor up right now. It's over there on the floor. And I'm trying to do everything from like a little teeny tiny screen right now. So I'm not gonna putz around and screw something up. Big Al says, and Huff will get tagged for a second round tender and somebody will snatch him up. So he can't get tagged for a second round tender. The tender he would get tagged with is the franchise tag because he was tagged with the second round tender this year and was not taken. The Wedge says, Becky Becton blocks like Rebecca from Sunnybrook Farm. I don't know who Rebecca from Sunnybrook Farm is, but Becton did not block well. So I concur on that. K Yeti comes in and says, nah, y'all can have Tua. Enjoy your run. It's a second round playoff run. It ends next year. Good season, though. I do think the Dolphins will get bounced first round, but I have to give them a little more props. But I want to see them beat either the Cowboys or the Ravens. The Ravens are the team I'm really looking at. Like, I still want, if they beat the Cowboys, I'll be really impressed. They beat the Jets soundly with their B team, so I'm kind of impressed already, I'll be honest. This wasn't like the 10-6 halftime with the flub up of the Fail Mary, or whatever that's called, the Hell Mary. It's a little different. Let's see. Mike the Stat Guy. Mike the Stat Guy says, McDaniel to Saleh after getting our doors blown off. Your team played hard. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Saleh came out in the middle of the field, shook his hand. You play hard. I fucking hate that. I want to beat your ass. Going back to the Hard Knocks days. All right, we got Mike joining the show. Hop over here. Mike, how you doing tonight, dude?
Oh, shit. That was quick, man.
I didn't have a line.
So, cheers.
I don't have a drink. I need one. I should have one.
Think we all need one of these. I am so tired, man.
Oh, dude, I hear you. It's been like, I just want to see some entertaining football at this point. I don't even care. Like, I don't care if we lose.
Last week. And I called in for that last week, and it was like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, if only we could just have this again. And
oh yeah,
you know, the thing with this team is every year I find myself saying it couldn't be worse than that.
Oh, dude, every year, right? Like, it's unreal that this is like the same shit we go through every season.
So now I'm like, I'm not even optimistic for next year. I don't care if that Rodgers is playing or not. Like, what's the next debacle that's going to hit this team? Going to be another
asteroid's going to hit MetLife. That's what's going to happen. Fucking, that like end of the dinosaurs. Boom. Like, maybe it's a good thing at that point. Damn.
I mean, that would be like that would be at least a
be entertaining.
That would be a saving grace for everybody.
Oh.
I feel bad for Green Bean because like I was riding his coattails this whole week. I was like, you know what, I'm with him. I wanna like watch some good football and root for my team. And I watched his stream the entire way because I can't listen to commentators anymore. They suck.
Oh, you can't. It's more fun to hang out with the fans.
Exactly. So just listening to him talk, and honestly, it's just funnier commentary.
It really is. The banter
Like,
back
tell
and
me how
forth,
you
it's,
really feel.
it's so different than like Romo just absolutely loving the opposing team's quarterback and just
Dude,
shitting all
every
over the
time.
Jets.
And Chris Collinsworth during that Raiders game,
Ugh.
I couldn't get over that. Anyway, I'm about to get ejected, so launch me, fam. I'll catch
All
you
right.
later.
Your God, thank you so much for the call.
That's it.
You've been
You're
ejected
out of here.
from the cockpit. Boys and girls. Got something in my mouth. If you'd like to call in shows being dropped in the live chat by Nightbot, or you can scan the QR code on the screen, and that'll get you onto the call-in show. We're going to go through a few more comments, see what you guys have to say. WM says he's the beneficiary of a great system. Tua put him in Love's situation and we'd see what happens. So do we think Tua is in a magnificent situation where he's running a Shanahan-esque offense, or do you think he's just a really good quarterback for that offense, and that's maybe why McDaniel went there? Like, I don't want to be like a Tua, blowhard or whatever. I don't trust him to stay healthy. Like, if you're asking me, would I rather have Tua or like other quarterbacks? Sure, I can make a list of other quarterbacks that I'd want instead of Tua. But from where we are right now, saying you don't want Tua, you're nuts. You're out of your mind. Loco in the Cabeza. New England ain't trying to win that game. No, I know New England's not trying to win that final game. It's going to be a stinker for the ages, where the Jets are going to blow the doors off. It's going to be like, oh yeah, we got this moral victory. Here's a tight end in the top 10. And then, like, with our luck, he won't wind up being generational. Wind up being like a horrible tight end or something. I don't know. I'm just looking at our luck. The Wedge says, did you see Tua yesterday? We did not re-ring his bell. No bong bong. Miami didn't need a Hail Mary. Go Jots. Dude, we suck. It's really frustrating when you can watch your team and you just like sort of know the stupid thing that's about to happen. And I feel like that's the predictability of the offense, and why I'm so pissed at Nathaniel Hackett is like, if I can sit here and call this, someone who's like legitimately trained and gone to school and been around film like day in and day out, you got to think they're going to pick up on it. This can't be, the other argument I heard is, would Rodgers really allow his legacy to be left up to people he doesn't trust? Like, if he sees Sal and he sees Douglas and he says, look, these aren't the guys. I'm okay with you moving on from them. I think the only reason you're holding on to him is because you feel like they got to be tied to Rodgers. If that's not the case, and you can get someone that's like an offensive-minded head coach and, you got your new GM, whoever that is, more power to you. I think the argument comes in is that I like the upside of Douglas and I like the upside of Saleh. Let's see him with a quarterback. Maybe they are better than whatever, maybe second-rate offensive coach we'd get in because of the weird situation that we're putting them in this year. Unless we're an attractive landing spot because we now have potentially a top 5 pick and you could take Jaden Daniels, you could take, maybe a Drake May or Caleb Williams or, insert whatever quarterback player in the top of the draft that you want. Maybe that's appealing. Feel like I'm rambling. That's all right. I forgive myself. Bino says it's called bad coaching. I would say bad coaching is what we're seeing right now. This team has far more talent than what we're seeing on the field. Isaiah says, I think we win 2 out of the 3 games, Commanders, Patriots, and I think we trade down to 10 or 11 to get get wide receiver in the 3rd, bulk up the offensive line. So I think Joe Alt's going to go top 5. I don't think you're going to be able to go down to pick 10 or 11 and get Joe Alt. Now, what I would be okay with is the kid from Alabama, J.C. Latham, at right tackle. Like, I think there's a really good shot you're going to wind up seeing Bakhtiari left tackle, J.C. Latham right tackle in a trade down that nets us like Devontae Adams or, a second round pick that you could use on a wide receiver. I really think, like, if I'm looking like from a gut feeling perspective, that's where I see it going. I know fans aren't going to like Bakhtiari or that thought process, but I just think it makes sense based on the likelihood of the Jets, or maybe unlikelihood of the Jets actually attracting an offensive, lineman here without them being retained by their current squad. Justin Crazy, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, thoughts on Zach trying to play through a concussion, and he only did it for his teammates. Thoughts? Zach's mom talked about it. So I think Zach definitely got concussed. I'm not one of those people that are going to say Zach is not the guy that he claims to be. He really didn't want to get out there. He's saving himself for his next team. I don't think that's the case. I understand where people are coming from on it, and it's a very easy conspiracy theory to have based on him walking into the locker room just like before halftime and him being cleared by the concussion protocol and then going back in. But him being cleared and going back in, I think he got his bell rung initially, saw stars, and then also got his bell rung like a third, a fourth, a fifth time, whatever it was, constantly under duress. I think it was like 80% of his dropbacks was under pressure. I feel bad for the kid. I really do. He wasn't given a fair shake for like the offensive line for yesterday. I would say one of the 6 sacks I would really put on him. Maybe like the one where he tried to like bail out when you're close to your own goal line. Maybe just throw that away and hope you get, just the incomplete pass. I see what he was trying to do. It sucks. When you try to make a play because other people aren't making a play, or because you feel you need to make a play, or like, hey, maybe this is the let it rip part of the game that we were saying we wanted to see from Zach Wilson, and that's just the repercussions of having a let it rip type thing. I don't know. Thoughts on Zach trying to play through a concussion, though? I like Zach. I think he's a good person. I think he tries hard. I don't think he was the biggest issue this year. I don't think he was the biggest issue yesterday. I don't think he was the reason we lost. I mean, clearly not the reason we put anything on the board either, but I think the O-line is just so bad. It's hard to really blame Zach for yesterday, but when you go through 3 years of, bottom tier quarterback play, you got to be able to see some flashes, and 3, quarters or 30 minutes of gameplay against the Texans is not it for me. So I don't know. I think he was definitely concussed. Milked says, how do you think Quinnen Williams has played this year after getting paid? So he doesn't have the sack numbers, and a lot of that has to do with us not having a lead and him not being able to pass rush. That is entirely accurate. And then I also think it's entirely accurate that he's been double teamed more than any other player in the NFL. They said it during the broadcast. I believe it was 2 games ago. So maybe there's like some skewing, but at least like top 1 or 2 or 3 players in the league getting double teamed, and Quinnen is like constantly getting pressure. I mean, he's caused at least 1 or 2 safeties this year. I think he's got 3 sacks? Is that right? It's not a whole lot. But you watch him eat up blocks. He's freeing up other people. He's freeing up Jermaine Johnson. He's freeing up John Franklin Myers. He's freeing up, Huff in occasions, to get around the edge. Him eating up space is big time for this defense. WM says, we are the youngest roster in the game, and that was with Bakhtiari, Jones, Alexander, etc., who have all been out most of the season. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers they're a very young team. There's a lot of upside with that team. I think I saw something the other day. Is your offensive line like really, really good? Like it seems like they're like top 7 is what I believe it was Pro Football Network maybe ranked them. And I was a little surprised because I know Bakhtiari's out and like there's some stuff shuffling around on the offensive line over there. I wish we could have that kind of problem over here in New York. Mr. J says, how long before Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner want out, or do you think they already had that talk with their agents? No, I don't think so. I don't think they're done. I think they see Aaron Rodgers here and they see it's the best chance they're going to have for a ring right now. So you just sit and just sort of play good soldier. I think that's honestly where it's at. But next year, you better win, and you better feed these guys the ball. And those guys will be the reason that you wind up winning. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall. You got to build up the offensive line. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. But yeah, look, after next year, if it looks like shit again, if we wind up winning like 5 games, there's going to be a lot of sounds, especially if Rodgers says I'm retiring. Like, Rodgers has to play well next year. Can't just be like average. I feel like you got to be like, you can't wait an entire season and give us like the final year of Green Bay. Give us something a little better than that. Come on. Keel A says, don't talk to us Dolphins fans about injuries. That funny Packers fan. Yeah, no, the Dolphins were without their entire team yesterday. I can't even rag on them. You guys gave us the business, and you guys did not have your studs out there. So kudos to you. You guys kicked our teeth in. Mike the Stat Guy says, honestly, the more I think about it, Jaden Daniels could be pretty good once Rodgers retires in a year or two. If you think you can fix offensive line, like let's say you get a Bakhtiari and let's say you get a Jonah Williams and you're sitting there at 5 and you're saying, all right, in some weird roundabout fashion, or maybe you're sitting there at 6 or 7, right? Let's say the quarterbacks are off the board, May and Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board, Alt Fashanu off the board. That's 5. Then call it Bowers. You're kind of sitting in no man's land. Jaden Daniels is going to be a very attractive pick. And if you get Bakhtiari and Jonah Williams and you have your offensive line set, what do you do for wide receiver, though? That's the thing. You still need a wide receiver. I have a hard time taking a quarterback in the first round of this draft. But I agree, Mike the Stat Guy. This is a very, very sexy pick. I think Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft. I really do. I think he's really, really good. The Freedom House says, getting paid millions to play a game, you should try. Well, when you think about the game only lasting like 3.5 years, that three years is the average NFL lifespan. So you have to, to some degree, like players that are on their rookie deals that haven't been paid yet, I understand them kind of mailing it in and protecting themselves because we don't have guaranteed contracts. Like their rookie contract is guaranteed, but their second contract is what they're trying to play for. That's the generational life-changing money, especially for guys like Garrett and Sauce and Brees. Like that's where they're trying to get to. I mean, obviously you don't want to like admit that, but I think it's definitely like business decision is what they call it, right? Maybe you don't stand in front of Derrick Henry when he's steamrolling you. You just kind of say, oh, whoops, missed that one. Bino says, I've seen Favre get concussed, took another hit, and got unconcussed. Brett Favre is very much tough to watch right now. He's definitely taken a few hits, for sure. It's sad seeing what that winds up being. Mike says, Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, or Jaden Daniels with our top pick if I had to decide today. Yes, I would agree. I would put Olu Fashanu instead of Jaden Daniels because I don't see this regime going with a quarterback because they may not live beyond this year. That's where I keep coming back to. People saying Marvin Harrison Jr. don't realize we won't be able to draft him. He's going top 3. Yeah, I don't think we're getting into the top 3. I would be very surprised if the Jets made it that high. I think we're going to pick at 7. That's what I've been saying the whole time. I think we'll wind up winning at least one more game, and it's going to, fluctuate a bit more. JC says, what do you think about trading back and targeting Amarius Mims, Talasi Fuaga, or Troy Fatanu? So I haven't seen Troy Fatanu, I'll be honest, but Fuaga, I believe, is the Oregon State guy. Is that right? Or was it Washington State? It's more of like it's not, I haven't watched enough of him. Amarius Mims, I'll be honest, I don't really want him. He's the right tackle from Georgia. He got knocked out of the SEC title game against Alabama, and they made a comment about his injury history, I think, or his availability. And that's someone I wouldn't touch. But as far as trading back, I am on board with trading back. I think it would be nice to add an additional second this year. Like I would go so far as to say, let's say you can get Bakhtiari at left tackle, Jonah Williams right tackle. You wind up with a top 5 pick, and let's say it goes wide receiver, like maybe the Bears go Marvin Harrison Jr. 1, Patriots go quarterback, Cardinals, maybe they trade out, I guess. I guess you'd have to be in a situation where the offensive line isn't there. I don't know. If you have a quarterback sitting there and you're able to trade down, I would be cool with getting, J.C. Latham or Keon Coleman, one of the wide receivers. I think you need someone that can impact the game immediately. And there is some speculation as to how impactful an offensive lineman in their rookie year can be. So wide receiver may be the more attractive route. It depends who you attract in free agency, I think. Or maybe you trade down. Like, let's say you get J.C. Latham, let's say you get Bakhtiari left tackle. You've got Tomlinson coming back. You got Tippmann center. You got AVT right guard. You've got Jonah Williams right tackle. Now you got to go with a weapon in the first round. Well, let's say you trade down. Let's say, you're sitting in the top 5 quarterbacks there. Someone wants to come up. Oh, it's the Raiders come knocking. Now you wind up getting Davante Adams in the trade down because they want their quarterback. And because of that, now you're sitting back and you're saying, okay, well, now I have the option to add in another wide receiver or another offensive lineman in some capacity. That's the route I think is very attractive. If you can wind up sliding back from like 5 to 10 and draft like a Keon Coleman and have Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson, whoo! Talk about an upgrade. And then you've already gotten Bakhtiari to come into the fold. You got Jonah Williams in the fold. I think Jonah Williams is going to be the tougher ask. The second tackle, I think, is going to be tough in free agency. And you need someone to trade with you to slide down the draft board. Because it's not a one-way thing. I could say trade down all I want, but that doesn't mean you're actually going to get the trade down offers. I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of questions that we could get into. A lot of questions. But I really like the trade down. Wildwave says, listen, Ryan, we are trading Huff for a first or a second, and you are going to like it. He's expendable, and we don't have the money to pay him. So we do have the money to pay him as a franchise tag player for one more year if we want to. And that's what I would definitely do. I would tag him, and then at the very least, you have him locked in for this season. And then if you get offered a second or a first round pick and there's a player there that you want, I'm all right with trading him. I get it. I think from a financial standpoint, Will McDonald kissed all chances of Huff being re-signed goodbye. And if I'm Bryce Huff, I would say, screw you, Jets. I'm going to try and hit free agency. I'm going to make you franchise tag me for like the $19 million or whatever it is. That's a lot of money for an edge rusher, for a situational edge rusher. But I think tag and trade is the option for Huff. You cannot allow Huff to just hit the open market without getting some type of value back for him. That's the one thing you cannot do. That's the one thing you cannot do. But I agree. I think he's going to wind up moving on to greener pastures. All right, boys and girls, we're hitting that 10:30 mark, and I'm hitting a wall. I'm not going to lie. I am beat. I am toast. So I've enjoyed hanging out with you tonight. I enjoyed your calls. Thank you for all you that called in. Thank you for all you that super chatted. It means a lot. Goes a long way. Keeps the lights on around here. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, talking Jets over on the Talk Jets panel with O'Leary and Green Bean. And I'm sure I'll make some video in between now and then. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. If you enjoyed hanging out in the stream for a little bit, whether you're a Jet fan or not, whether you're enjoying the season or not, goes a long way. Thank you, guys. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.